ShinRobjira.
Huh? Well, I thought you here one day. Yeah! What's up, everybody? I don't know what that intro was. I doubt it's going to stay in the video. Welcome to yet another dead series of mine that only gets a video once, maybe every 6 or 7 or 8 months. Manga pickups. This is the Mega Haul Part 2 because I have 20 books to show off. But I'm going to break this up into 2 parts in the same video. The first part and or stack is just going to be the books that, since I've been holding off on making a manga pickups video, I've only had 1 book come out since then. The other stack is going to be for series that have had multiple books come out since I've been holding off on making a manga pickups video. Either that or it's just a series that's complete and I've just been, catching up on them anyway. ShinRobjira Manga Pickups Mega Haul Part 2. The first book I am going to be talking about is Komi Can't Communicate. I saw Viz Media tweeting about this series and the response was insane. Like, people were losing their shit over this finally getting serialized in the States. I thought maybe there was like an anime that had come out or something like that, but it turns out, and from what I've heard, this was a very popular online series that people really wanted to be published here in the States, so it finally happened, and I completely understand why people are so goo-goo for this series. It flips the romantic comedy tropes on their head. Instead of the boy being too nervous to talk to the girl of his dreams, the boy actually ain't all too nervous to talk to the girl of his dreams, but the main focal point is the girl actually talking, because she can't. Komi is seriously antisocial, and the whole point of this series is for her to make 100 friends, while her first friend, Mr. Main Character over here, is somewhat crushing on her. It has a very interesting cast of characters, some rather eccentric, and I'm already in line for volume 2. I'm pretty sure it's coming out in a couple of days, maybe even a month. Maybe it's already out. I'm not sure, but I'm in line for it, absolutely. Obviously, a high recommend. Up next is volume 6 of The Girl from the Other Side. This series is continuously ripping my freaking heart out. It's like right now we're kind of in somewhat of like this build-up stage. Like, I know this is all building up to something. I mean, every story is always building up to something, but this feels like a major point. All the things happening between the 2 main characters and the characters surrounding them, it just feels like the big build-up before the massive drop. The art is still absolutely on point. The story itself is heartbreaking and fantastic. Absolutely no complaints with The Girl from the Other Side. And if you haven't started reading this series yet, what's wrong with you? Just come on, get to reading it. You need to read it. It's fantastic. Whoa, I did not remember. Alright, Future Rob, you're probably gonna have to censor this cover so you don't get age restricted. But the next book we are talking about is volume 3 of Soul Liquid Chambers. The first 2 volumes really caught my eye, with great action, great exposition, great story, and great characters, and a very interesting main-ish character. Secondary main character, I guess you could say. But volume 3 absolutely just, oof, man, it's starting to hit the feels in some areas. The action is getting even more jaw-dropping. The drama is very well put across. Soul Liquid Chambers, it takes forever to come out, but when I finally see it on the shelves in Barnes & Noble, I go for it instantly. There's never a second thought on getting the next volume of this series. And even though this series is solidified with zombies and everything, it's starting to kind of move into more of a creative pattern with them. I mean, from volume 1, this definitely wasn't your grandpappy zombies, that's for sure. But I like that the creative stride is continuously moving throughout the series, and it's not just the same thing. So this volume was a little lewd in some areas. I mean, volumes 1 and 2 had some nudity in there, but this one literally starts off with a color page of nudity. So yeah, it amazes me that this is only for older teens and not for mature, but whatever. Soul Liquid Chambers, a fantastic series and only getting fantasticer. All right, speaking of lewd, the next book I am talking about is volume 5 of World's End Harem. I think you can tell by the title, yeah, this is an extremely, lewd, nude, and very not for older teens kind of a story. But this is the first time in this series where it just kind of felt like a bit of a letdown. Like, okay, let me explain. From volumes 1 to 4, there was a very nice balance between, oh, look, nudity, and oh, here's the story developing. And here it kind of feels like just like a filler volume, like not too much crazy happened. Yes, this volume did focus a little bit more on everybody but the main character, and that's cool and everything. But at the same time, like with how volume 4 ended, I guess I was expecting a little bit too much. Mind you, the lewd and nude and all of the boobs and everything, yeah, that's perfectly intact in here. But it's starting to get to the point where I'm caring more about the story than I am the nudity. You know, that's happened to me so many times before with manga series like this. The fact that it's happening to World's End Harem, I think, just speaks the truth that it's a great story. It's just, you know, gratuitous with lots of nudity and titties. I mean, just look at that cover. Does this look like something a Bible-thumping Christian should be reading? Absolutely not. I'm not a Bible thumper or a Christian. I'm just throwing shit out there. World's End Harem Volume 5, decent at best. Could have been better. Excited for Volume 6. Y'all like that Godzilla IMAX poster back there? Straight from New York, Queens. It's the real one that they hung in the case. Thank you, John. I love you. Okay, Future Rob, you might have to censor this cover too because Homegirl is stacked. But anyway, here we have Volume 3 of The Elder Sister Like One. For those who don't know, this manga series began as a thin book series. And for those who don't know what that means, this literally started off as a hentai, a doujin, to throw out the correct term there. So the creator basically took out everything that made this series a doujin, put more of an implied element as to what the doujin was about, and now we're mainly just focusing on the core story of what's going on between the two main characters in this, and it's kind of sweet. It's kind of weird. Like, I never really know how to feel about this series, like, overall. Like, I know I like it, but at the same time, it's like, I've seen what really goes down when there's not a... It's weird, and it's starting to build up to this arc where danger is coming, and that's something I wasn't expecting. I was expecting more of like this supernatural slice of life, and I'm actually really glad that it's taking that turn, because with the doujin, it's, you know, it's the same thing over and over again, just with, you know, elder sister demon chick over here being elder sister demon chick and all of that. Even though she's not his older sister, I have to make that clear. This isn't a book about incest, I promise you. But yeah, I'm really excited to see where Volume 4 takes the series. I'm excited to see where Ida Pochi, I probably butchered that name, takes the manga series with this. Yeah, the creator said somewhere in this book that this should be coming out in the summer, and it probably won't be until next summer till the next one comes out, which, hey, fair play. By all means, go for it. This is a series I can wait for sure. This is yet another mature book. So the next book I'm talking about is yet another M-rated book, but it's not for the reasons that you think. This is Happiness Volume 9 from the creator of The Flowers of Evil. And oh dear God. This story, I feel, is slowly coming to an end, and everything that's been happening in the last 2 or 3 books now have just been utterly heartbreaking, absolutely emotionally destructive. Like, every time I pick up the latest volume of Happiness, I save it for the end because I know it's going to destroy me, and reading any other book after this is just not going to get any enjoyment out of me. So out of all the books I have here, this is the last one that I read, and I am glad that this was the last one I read. I then had to watch a lot of ridiculous movies. I think I actually watched 3 Adam Sandler movies after reading this because, wow. Frack. Shuzo Oshimi is absolutely outdoing himself. I hope his latest series that's being published right now in Japan gets released here in the States. But from what I've heard about that series, I don't know if that's actually... I don't know if the US is going to take too well to that. But anyway, Happiness Volume 9... absolutely positively not an upset in any way, shape, or form. Definitely going to be doing a Why You Should Read episode about this in the future. Speaking of which, this is probably going to be one of the last videos that I upload on a regular, somewhat basis, just because I really need to start trucking on Why You Should Read Yu-Gi-Oh! So if you don't see me after this, you know what I'm doing. It's okay. I'm not dead. I'm not sick, and I haven't fled the country or anything like that. All right, if you remember my last episode, my last manga pickups video, you know that I fell in love with this series really quickly. I went back and I got all the volumes that were available in and of that point, and unfortunately, I did not know that this would be the final volume of Mononoke Sharing, from the creator of Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. Again, I wasn't expecting this to be the final volume. I really wasn't, and plus it doesn't say anything on the back. Okay, yeah, that kind of alludes to this being the final volume. But aside from this series being somewhat gratuitous here and there, you know, some not even implied type stuff or anything like that. Just like straight up, hey, there it is. It does have a very sweet story with a very sweet main character. The main cast is really out there and can be rather eccentric at times, but it was a really fun story, and I'm actually kind of bummed that it's already done. Like, I was hoping for at least another 2 or 3 more volumes, but you know what? I admire an author that knows when to end a story. Be it just because it feels like it's time to end the story, or they just don't feel like doing it anymore. I respect that. I respect that a lot, and this was a nice little send-off for this series. Okay, final 2 books, and then we have to move over to the other pile. So this series is finally getting republished or published for the first time in the States. So when I saw Amazon promoting this book and Viz Media promoting this book, I knew I had to get it. This is volume 1 of Roose A Yet Sora, and I apologize if I butchered that. This book actually took me a while to get through because just from looking at the artwork, you can tell, yeah, this is a rather older series, and the comedy is somewhat grounded in that. Man, is this going to be embarrassing if this is from like 2008? Please, Future Rob, is this from 2008? Thank you. And I think because the major underlining story between the main character and Lum over here is somewhat thrown to the side for the better part of the volume. I think that might be why it took me so long. But even the filler stories in between, I was genuinely laughing. I wasn't just like, LOL. I was really like laughing my ass off at some of the jokes that were thrown in there. So I'm very much in line for volume 2, which I do believe is out already. I mean, by the time this video goes up, volume 3 is probably out because I am just so late with this video. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. Definitely picking up volume 2. And the final book in stack 1 is Smashed by Junji Ito. Second in the Junji Ito story collection series. This is easily one of my very favorite Junji Ito books that's been released thus far. There's a lot of stories in here that obviously have to do with horror. I feel like this is somewhat of a compilation of Junji Ito's more emotional horror stories. One very good example, and my favorite story in here, is a story called Earthbound, and it's about people standing like statues in certain areas that just seem absolutely random. They stand there in these weird positions. No matter how many times they're moved, they end up back there, and eventually they start turning into stone. And it turns out there is a reason why certain people are in certain areas. I'm not going to spoil anything, but finding out why certain people are in certain places, it's heartbreaking, it's terrifying, and that story in and of itself is one of my favorite Junji Ito stories ever. Like, ever. Earthbound, check it out. You should check out Smashed overall because there's a lot of fantastic freaking stories in here. Earthbound is just the one that I had to reread multiple times because, oh my god, like, it hit me every time I read it. But as always, fantastic storytelling, fantastic art, kept me on the edge of my seat. Junji Ito. Everything you could ever expect from this man, right here. All right, so for the final pile here, I am just talking about books that I've attained more than 1 volume for since the last manga pickups video. Up first, we have volume 5 and 6 of Dead Demons Destruction from Inyo Asano. And holy fucking shit, man! I wasn't expecting this series to tackle some of the subjects that it's currently tackling. Volume 5, we have a very memorable and real look at police brutality. And then in volume 6, we're looking at a major political strife. Now, politics has been in this series from the beginning just because of the whole root of the situation and root of the story. But the way these 2 volumes handled both of those 2 subjects was done extremely well. Inyo Asano has never disappointed me before, and Dead Demons is only furthering that. The man impresses me with every body of work of his that I have picked up, and Dead Demons is only getting better and better by the day. And you know, for the longest time, I thought that the series was building up to like this major upset, this major horror, this major sad, and it really hasn't. But one of the major horrors that have built up is the fact that the invaders that have invaded Earth have a reason for doing what they're doing, and they're being wrongfully slaughtered by humans. It's crazy. It's not something that I can just explain to you without a script in front of me. You absolutely need to read this series for yourself. If you have read any of Inyo Asano's works and you're questioning this one, seriously, pick it up. Keep reading. Do not give up hope on this. If you have given up hope on it before, this is a fantastic series that absolutely deserves your attention. The next 2 books I am talking about are volumes 3 and 4 of Domo-chan is a girl. I'm really loving this series so far. Like, the first 2 volumes, I was like, yeah, I like it. And, you know, I was kind of like, maybe I can, like, you know, go a couple of trips without getting the next one. But after volume 3, I'm like, yeah, you know what? This is a series I gotta pick a book up for every time I go to Barnes & Noble, if they even have it. Domo-chan is a girl. It's just so sweet. I understand where the main character is coming from and wanting to be seen. I mean, I don't know what it's like to be viewed as a girl, but people see you more as like a dude kind of girl or whatever. I don't really know how that feels, but I understand how it feels to want to be seen by somebody of interest and everything. All the different stories and angles that this series is tackling so far, I really like. And again, I find it really sweet. And these 2 volumes had me laughing. They had me awing. It's just a very relatable story because I feel like I've been in some of these situations. Although I am a guy, I am not a woman. I'm just trying to say that it's sweet. I like it and I find it extremely relatable. Up next is a brand new series. This is a series that I've seen a lot of people talking about. A lot of cosplayers that I follow have been talking about this series and how fantastic it is. So I picked up the first 2 volumes and I feel kind of meh towards it. This is volume 1 and 2 of Plussized Elf. From the title, I was expecting, you know, a pure comedy, and this is a comedy, and that's pretty much it. And in the way that the series handles its comedy, it kind of feels like flat after the first 3 times a joke is made. Elfuda-san over here, she's an elf and she gets addicted to fast food and she can't get back to the elf realm because she's gained weight. And it kind of like, I find this just in a weird taste. Like, not so much a bad taste, just a weird taste. I really don't know how to feel. I mean, I like fan service. Fan service is fun and everything, but all of, like, the jokes just don't land here. I'm really not feeling too much. I am going to give Volume 3 a try, and if Volume 3 falls on deaf ears, I'm probably not going to continue on with this series. I don't know what it is, man. I really don't. This series just, it feels off. I don't know. Or near the end of the video, everyone. You could probably tell because of the time counter down there. But the next 2 books I am talking about are volumes 2 and 3 of City. Volume 1 absolutely captured my heart, and I knew that I needed to continue on with it. I mean, it's from the creator of Nichijou, so of course it was going to capture my heart and make me fucking laugh my ass off. Volumes 2 and 3, they just keep pushing that narrative. They just keep pushing the jokes. It's just, like, I don't know how to explain just how good this series is, but it just feels like opening a window and looking at somebody else's life from the sidelines. It's relatable, it's funny, it's got some life lessons thrown in there. City is just like good-natured, golden-hearted, silver-souled fun. I can't really describe it better than that. If you haven't been reading City, absolutely read City. The art is fantastic. The color pages are fantastic. The story's kind of all over the place, but I also feel like this is one of those stories that doesn't feel impossible. You know what I mean? Like, it can do whatever it wants to do, and when the author chooses to end it, they can end it and it will make sense. You know, that kind of thing. Yeah, City, this is a series that I'm going to be following for however long I can, and whenever there's an anime, if there's an anime out now, I definitely need to, like, watch this because I would love nothing more than to see this city come to life and in full color. Seriously. The final series I'm talking about, I have 3 books that I've picked up since the last episode, and that is Sundom, and this is volumes 3, 4, and 5. I liked this series as soon as I started reading volume 1. I thought it was hilarious. It had a bit of a kinky twist to it, and since I think, yeah, towards the middle and end of volume 2, like, you can kind of feel like a bit of a tonal shift. Like, there's still, you know, the lewd stuff being thrown out in there, the weird stuff thrown in there, but I feel like the story is approaching a more sympathetic turn. I think I only have, what, 3 more volumes, maybe 4 more volumes until the series is over. Like, every one of these volumes just really had me feeling for the 2 main characters, and it even had me worrying about one of the main characters at one point. I really don't know where to peg this series, but I definitely feel like this is one of those, like, cult classic stories because it starts off like your basic fan service driven series, but there's like a deeper underlining story to it, and it's starting to be really shown off, and I like it. I like it a lot. So this is definitely going to have to be made into a Why You Should Read episode, but oh boy, there's going to be a lot of censorship in there. Yeah, this is very much a series not for kids. Volumes 3, 4, and 5 of Sundom. Fantastic. Sundome? Sundome? I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section below. This is a fantastic series. I can't wait to see how it ends. I'm a little worried to see how it ends, but yeah, I like it. Whew, okay, everybody. Wowzers. That's it. That is Manga Pickups, the Mega Haul Part 2. Nobody really told me in the last episode, so I'm kind of just going to do it like this from now on. I'm going to amass a certain amount of volumes. That way I'm not doing videos on like 2 to 3 volumes, and then I'll do a major episode of Manga Pickups. So like every episode from now on is going to be a Mega Haul. The lowest number I'll go to is about 9. Anything below 9, it's not going to happen. But for any of you friends and neighbors out there who are here for the manga content, and you don't know, I started up a brand new series called Why You Should Read, and basically it's going to be a series where I try to sell you on a certain manga series that you may or may not be reading. Hopefully you're not reading that, so the point of the series can kind of hit home for you. And the first series that I'm going to be talking about is Yu-Gi-Oh! And the main focal point of the episode is to show just how much more darker it was before it got to the Duelist Kingdom arc. So when I said this is probably going to be one of the last videos that I upload on a regular-ish schedule, that's the reason why. I really want to get that video out before the end of August. So we'll see what happens, but I am definitely trying to make Why You Should Read more of a mainstay series. Originally it was going to be a mini-series because I had no faith in it, but then I read the script for Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm listening back to the audio files and I'm seeing what I have so far, and I really do like it, and I have a lot of faith in it, and I feel like I can make this into a really great series. So stick with me on that. More manga content is coming. Mind you, not every episode of Why You Should Read is going to take me 4 months to finally get out, because I have a feeling that some of them are going to be short, some of them are going to be somewhat long, like Yu-Gi-Oh! It all depends on the point of the episode. But anyway, I have been ShinRobjira. I do hope you enjoyed this episode of Manga Pickups, the Mega Haul Part 2. And until next we meet, friends and neighbors, I will see you all then and there. Bye, everybody.